So, in our last video, we explained a typical business leader's process for solving problems. The link is in the description. So, we promise to give you insight and a better way of doing things, and that's what we're going to do today. One that allows you to step away from the day-to-day and work on high-level things that only you can do. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome to the iProv vlog, where we help you become a bit better business leader. I fumbled a little bit on that one, but that's okay. We're going to do this live. Hey Pat, how are you?
I'm doing great, Joe. How are you today?
Dude, I'm excited about this. So if you guys tuned into the last episode, you know it was a little bit kind of doom and gloom. Today though, we've got a little ray of sunshine and hope, and we want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's always conflict on the hero's journey, right? And that's really what we're trying to do, is set business owners and business leaders up as the hero in their business. And the hero never accomplishes the conquest alone, but they have to have a system in order to be able to rally people to their cause. And so we call our system Vista. And specifically, we're going to talk about the Vista process today, because it's a really simple recipe for solving complex business problems. But I think first it's important to talk about what Vista stands for. Vista is an acronym, and it stands for Vision, Strategy, Tactics, and Alignment. Yep. And once again, it's a really simple recipe that creates powerful results for leaders that use it to solve problems in their business.
Well, and we call
it a recipe for a reason, right, Joe?
Yeah, because recipes are simple to follow and execute, right? So,
yeah,
process, recipe, whatever you want to call it. This is the way that we've been running all of our clients and everything that even we do internally for the past year and a half. So we're excited to share it to you today.
So let's talk a little bit about sort of the 8-step Vista recipe for solving complex business problems. The first one is going to sound really similar to our last video. You have to identify the symptoms first, right? You don't know you need to go to the doctor until your throat starts to hurt or you start running fever. And so it's important to identify and acknowledge the symptoms of the problem that you're facing. But once you sort of know there's a symptom, that's probably not what's actually going on, is it, Jeff?
No, I mean, the symptom is typically an issue that arises from a deeper seated problem, right? Using the doctor analogy, you've got a sore throat. Well, the problem often is something that's causing that sore throat. It's not just the inflammation in your throat. And it's the same with business, where there might be a symptom that you've recognized pretty clearly, but typically there's an underlying issue that you really need to solve to get rid of that symptom. And that's step number 2.
Yeah, step number 2, diagnose the problem. And this is where there are lots of helpful tools to help you, sort of figure out what the real problem is. The symptom is sort of how the problem is presented, but it's rarely the real problem. We like a technique called root cause analysis, which is a really fancy way for asking why until you can't ask why anymore. But ultimately, you sort of have to say, I have this symptom. I know it is telling me that there's a real problem. What's the real problem? And once you've diagnosed it, the next step is to really take ownership and accountability, right, Joe?
Yeah. And everybody's watching this, do me a favor, hit pause, right? Before that, grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, and write down some issue that's in your business and ask yourself why at least 3 times, and be honest with yourself. If it's a revenue problem, ask why. Why aren't we hitting revenue goals? Well, why is that? Well, why aren't we doing that? That's how you're going to get to that root cause that Pat talks about, so that you can take accountability. This is where we always say, the bad news is this is probably your fault. The good news is it's probably your fault. So you have the power to fix it. But hit pause and do that exercise, then hit play. And I think this will make a lot of sense. So once you take accountability for the issue, the next thing is to walk through and describe your vision.
Yeah, so this is painting a picture. This is what you want the world to look like once the problem is solved. What does it look like? And it may be something highly personal. It may just be something that means you don't have to worry about this particular thing ever again. And that's okay. Or it may mean that your business reaches a level that you could have only dreamed about before. But this is important, where you really paint a picture that others can get behind. Show others how their life will be easier once this is done. And from there, you can start building a plan.
Mm-hmm. And don't worry about all these individual steps. This is our thought process. Next week, we're going to start digging into each one of these really specifically. And once you've described that vision and you've got a plan, now develop a strategy to achieve that plan, right? Don't think tactics first. Think overarching strategy. What do I need to do? Who do I need to get in front of? Who do I need on my team to accomplish this? Try to think big picture first. Again, we're solving the sore throat in your business, but that's not the problem. We've got to diagnose it and figure out what the underlying thing is first.
Yeah, and we always talk about strategy like a path. Your vision is your destination. Your strategy is the path that you're going to walk to get there. And the next part, tactics, are each individual step you're going to take on that path, right? And so by constantly asking yourself, what's the next action I can take on the path that will lead me to my destination, you're going to make progress to get there. And so it's really important to think about the sort of most efficient path to your desired outcome before you start taking steps.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. From there, the next thing is create alignment, and that's the A in Vista. Alignment, accountability, making sure that you guys have very simple procedures, numbers, stats to tell you if the steps you're taking, like Pat just talked about, are the right steps forward, and to make sure that you know if you guys took a step back so that you can kind of hit the pause button and figure out what you need to do to rectify that.
Yeah, my sort of favorite analogy for this is if you took off in a plane from Los Angeles and you wanted to get to New York, but you just veered off by about 2 degrees, you'd end up in Washington, D.C. And so it's really important to sort of make sure that you are continuing on the path that you set out for yourself. It's also important to figure out if you need to make a deviation in order to get to your destination. And you can't do that without some tools that sort of help align you and your team towards staying on that path towards the destination. Mm-hmm. And then the last step is probably my favorite step, and most leaders' favorite step when they get there, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah, which is empower your team. If you're lucky enough as a business owner to have a team, empower them. Make sure that they know that there's going to be missteps, right? The analogy that Pat, there's going to be points where the airplane's off a degree or two. That's okay. What do we need to do to get it back on there? But you have to empower your team. We talked about taking accountability. So you do need to take accountability, but you also need to take accountability for making sure that your team knows what they need to do and being able to be okay with cutting the vine and letting them go out and do the things that you hired them to do.
Absolutely. So if you follow the steps and you add the right ingredients at the right time, we promise that you'll create something that has far-reaching long-term benefits for you and your team and ultimately your business. But I want to make sure that we sort of put an exclamation point on this next point is this is simple, but it is not easy. And in fact, it is a core belief of mine and of Jordan's that things that are like really easy are rarely valuable. And there are exceptions, of course. But chances are, if the easy thing worked, you would have already done it, and it would have fixed your problem. So things that are easy and valuable are very, very rare. And but it doesn't mean that things can't be simple. The other thing that I tell our team all the time is that easy fixes are a form of magical thinking. And it's like spending all of your time looking for some silver bullet, when the truth is you've got a pile of lead bullets that you could use to sort of send down range at the problem at your feet. So don't spend your time looking for the magic solution. Work on tangible solutions that, when stacked up, will solve the big problems in your business. And that's pretty much it.
No, absolutely. I love that. There's no silver bullets, only lead ones. So, all right, we'll tune in next time. We're going to start digging more into details, and that's going to be the next few of these videos. Is we're gonna stop and dig into each one of those a lot more clearly, so that at the end of this, if you guys watch this entire series, you'll have that roadmap that we talked about to help solve complex issues within your business and not just worry about solving those individual symptoms. So like, comment, subscribe, share this with a friend, and stay tuned because we're excited about what's coming up. Until next time, peace peeps.